This is probably the most important thing I will ever post. So if you get anything out of me ever, let it be this one thing. If it resonates and you don't like and share it, you're part of the problem. I discovered something that's very valuable, and I've been trying to share it, but they won't let me share it because it's too valuable. They want you to spread nonsense and misdirection without getting into crazy other theories. I figured it out. I figured out the real key to manifestation, and it's in the thought process. And I've had to study this all my life because I was always aware that my thought process was broken somewhere. It was able to follow a chain up into a certain point. So I realized that our brain is like a projector. It's like, you know, like one of those old cartoons, flip books. It does that like 1,000,000 times, pi per second. And when the thought process starts, it starts with one of our sensations being triggered, right? It triggers, and then the thought of whatever that trigger and how we perceive it, right? So trigger number one, the perception of the actual thought. Number two, it leads to feeling a certain way, right? Number three, we feel a certain way, we're going to behave or react because of that feeling. Even inaction is action. So it's four, the behavior, which leads to an outcome, the result. And that happens in our brain 1,000,000 times per second. The trigger, perception, feeling, behavior, outcome. Trigger, perception, feeling, behavior, outcome. And if we just keep doing the same things every day, if we are stuck in the same routine, then we are always going to have that same reality. Now, it could be a path forward that is what people are looking for, but if it's not, if there's something missing, then you're stuck in a loop. And I realized that in that thought process, that is like a domino effect that follows the golden ratio, spiral, the vortex. There's only one link out of that whole five that can be altered. You can't change the way you feel. You can't. You cannot change the way you feel. And you can't change the way life happens at you or what triggers. That's just chaos theory. That's just life. All right? But you can change the way you look at the thing that's triggering you. And if you change the thing that you look at that's triggering you, you have a different perception of it. You're going to feel differently. And if you feel differently about that, you are going to act differently, which is going to give you a different result and a different outcome, which will then start you on a new chain reaction. And I've discovered that that can be done in as little as 3 days. Habit forming, breaking, and making new habits. 3 days. You need to interrupt the process. You need to stop it at its source. As the trigger's coming, you need to look at, why do I feel that way about that thing that makes me feel, that makes me do, that results? Is it in my head? Is it something I can work on? You learn to stop it right there at number two, the perception. That is what everyone in the world is looking for. That is how you achieve manifestation. So, yeah, if you can learn to change the way you think, the way you perceive things as it's coming at you, that is going to change everything. For instance, you said you're too old. I said, no, you're not. Your fascia's too tight. Knowing that you can get 30 years back just by doing those exercises, that is, ask me, that's changing the way you think, right? That is going to give you some different results. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Bruce Lee said he was going to be the healthiest 50-year-old that ever lived. I remember when I first heard that, I was like 13. I was like, yeah, Bruce. I said, yeah. I was like, me too. And you know the rest. I mean, 33 years later, minus a liver. Me too, Bruce. Me too. It's a hell of a comeback.